So with speculation, without any touching very deeply, what do you guys think of Kenyan economy this year?
First of all, I think during the election year, the economy actually does pretty well, because money is being pumped into the economy by these big wigs trying to get
The politicians themselves.
politicians. Yeah, so a lot of money is usually pumped out. A lot of businesses, our friends, people who do printing, they get gigs. And say in 5 years you make 10 million, you make it in 1 year. So for such times it improves the economic kiasi. But now the consequence comes in on the results of the elections and how people take the election results. So first of all, it's who comes in as the president. Yeah. So what are his policies? What are his policies? Business people now, these big wigs in terms of business also, they try and engage a president in terms of their economic statements. Unapata president mwingine anakasa like in the states. President mwingine anataka high taxes for business people, mwingine anataka low taxes for business people. So depending on also who comes on board.
Kenya wana policies.
Hakuna policy huko.
Hakuna
policies. Exactly.
Hawezi jua roja wakiingia atakuja na policies.
It's very hard to hear people discussing this case coming with this policy.
Exactly. But if you look at
Kenya voting hivyo.
If you look
Jamani wetu.
If you look at like someone like Kibaki's policies really helped Kenya to come back to that 85.
This was after Moi.
Yeah, after Moi. The country was a bit fucked up. But after Kibaki came in with good policies, good economic policies, and anaelewa economics
to straighten kidogo.
To straighten kiasi. We then put Uhuru, who is not an economist, a political scientist, to run a country. The economy is that you can see it on the charts. So also another thing is if there are tensions after elections, not the post-election violence, like if there's no violence also. So if we get a smooth transition, or someone who we put someone who has policies on business, then the economy can get a ground to stand on. Now, what fucks up what makes elections worrying is now if people now causes clashes.
And for sure,
exactly,
like post-elections.
And I think it's mostly with us third world countries. Me I've never seen like a long election violence in the States. Maybe back in the 1900s.
Cannot sustain. They'll destroy the economy.
Exactly.
Now
wanapenda kuchunga economy yao, man. They can't become number 2. Their ego is too much. So for Kenya, the economy is unemployment is at 40%.
That's where we are right now.
Yeah,
40.
Literally out of 100,
10 Kenyans don't have a job.
Out of 100, 40 hawana job.
40.
Exactly. So unemployment is.
You sure though?
Yeah, around that. I swear,
you can
around
40%. Yeah. Trading economics. Let me confirm. But yeah, continue.
So utapata for such a country like our economy is already too well. So
it's tough.
Yeah, the moment we don't put someone who can bring up the economy, itakuwa so difficult now for the economy to even get stimulated and at least come back. When especially now the dollar is going to rise if rates come back. So imagine we've been falling with a falling dollar. Asa what about a rising dollar? See, to fall in deeper holes. I mean, so point is that like the Kenya shillings has been so devalued based on, first of all, our.
It's not so bad, Ras. According to this jobless rates. If I stick on this line and I come to Kenya, it is here at like 6%. 6%.
Anyway, yeah. So for elections, it's basically that way. Now, just to wait and see who will come into that seat. But for me, I don't even care so much about. Okay, yes, I have to care. Okay, it's my country. But,
just be honest.
Like literally, I don't know their policies, their agendas. I just know Raila wants to give us 6,000.
So you're not doing CGRT, tribalist, I'm going this direction because of this.
No.
Any view of what you think of the economy, Kenya? Or you have no point?
First of all, let me just start by saying, I'm not well qualified to give views on what is happening on the Kenyan economy.
For sure.
Because one, I don't really track numbers, so I don't know what really happens on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis in the Kenyan economy. But I have some opinions. My opinions could be wrong, they could be right. Okay. But I think one, generally, historically, the problem with the Kenyan economy comes in because of politics. Our country is hugely affected by the political climate, just like any other country. And unfortunately, as much as we have a stable government, we also have an unstable government, especially during times of election. So during election times, there is a high chance that, at least as much as we won't see post-election violence like the one we had in 2007, which is what everyone wishes for, sometimes we may see some riots, sometimes we may see some candidates refuse to accept the results, we may see the whole process of the election being prolonged. We may just have some scuffles. So Kenya
during that time, it's a bit unstable.
Exactly. That instability does not bring in a very, very good investment climate, does not bring in a very, very good economic climate. So generally, I tend to equate an election to bad economic times, personally. The second thing that I'd say is the policy of the guy who's coming in is very, very important. So we really need also to understand, okay, who comes in and what policies does this guy have? Like, is he a person who can perform? Is he a person who can fight battles we have like corruption? Is he a person who can support bills like the startup bill to support the Kenyan economy and to support Kenyan entrepreneurs and such things? Those are some of the most important things. But unfortunately, when you look at our politics, most people don't think hard about some of those things that we're talking about. Instead, what really occupies our minds, or what really defines how we'll vote, is where you come from, your geographic location. So as much as the guy who's vying may be not qualified, may not know what to do, may not be a performer, you may still back him up just because he came from your geographic location. So that's the main problem that we have, and it's not a wise idea to try and make decisions like that. I think one of the biggest revolutions that we can have in Kenya is when you have especially the young people. And a long time ago, if you look at history, the universities had a very big impact on elections and policies that were being made in these countries. The student leaders had a very huge impact on what was happening. But right now, that's dying off. You find that the student institutions are no longer very, very active in pursuing some of these things. It's very hard to find someone who's willing to lead us into a revolution. I'm not saying we should go into one.
We need
exactly. But you need something like a revolution. We need to change some things if we can be able to fight, because I feel like the Kenyan culture compared to other neighbors that we are very hardworking people. We have the resources, we have the ideas, we are quite developed, we are quite educated also. So we don't have, as much as we have handicaps, we also have the opportunity to do something great. But that opportunity is stifled by politics. And I think when we are able to kill that idea of politics affecting what really happens to us as individuals, is when we'll make some bit of progress, at least in developing this economy.